I think it's... Here's the thing. I think it's something they didn't want to do, but I think they went and had an honest advisement, and everyone around him said the cheapest way and most efficient way to diffuse this, because really, honestly, we're talking about a dead issue right now. The blogs have stopped. They killed it. And that was what they said. They got, I know you don't want to do it. I know you want to make all this money off of these bumpers, and I know it's cheaper, and I know it's not, but for PR reasons, just give it to them. Shut the bloggers up, diffuse the situation, take the wind out of everyone's sails. And that's exactly what that did. So, but yeah, like you said, it's definitely something Apple wouldn't want to do. And I don't think Jobs wanted to either. But the moment they said that, the stock started to recover. It was like if you were watching the stock, the moment that was said, the stock started to recover.
Speaking recall, and I don't know how anyone can think of recall.
Well, no, that was the thing. I don't think recall was ever a consideration, because a recall would cost them somewhere between $210 and $260 a unit, because they'd have phones they couldn't sell.
Recalls are about safety, and you recall a product because either the iPhone blew up and took your ear off, it blew up and blew a hole in your leg.
Oh, speaking of blowing up phones, before last Thursday, there were a bunch of fanboys and pro Apple people using exploding cell phones as a reason to say iPhones didn't suck. Did you see all of these? They were talking about phones in China blowing up. It was like, oh god.
But yeah, in the end, absolutely, they have diffused the situation. I hope, I'm sure that there's...
Honestly, I think they've diffused both the situation and the lawsuit. Apple is accepting financial responsibility for the problem. So this is no skin off anyone's butt. And from the way they announced it, it sounds like come September, if the problem isn't fixed in the hardware of the phone, which, there's 3 proposals for how to fix this and run 2, all of which make perfect sense. One is making that little groove T-shaped, which would do it. The other one is putting a bead of silicon on there, maybe both. It's like, and I guarantee it's what they're doing to run 2 of the iPhone, or one of these things, or maybe both, which is why they set the September deadline, because there'll be overlap time, and that'll cover all possible overlap.
Right.
And so, I mean, I hate to say it, but they did it right. And if there's any wind left in the lawsuits at this point, those sales have wind against AT&T, not against Apple. And at the end of the day, Apple really has nothing to do with AT&T other than they supply them with phones, and AT&T does what they do. So, okay.
Yeah.
Aside from, I don't know, it's like you disagree with me on this. I think, without meaning to, and I don't know the backstory here, I'm almost wondering, because of the almost instant nature of the announcement from AT&T, I'm wondering if behind the scenes there was a conversation and either Apple wasn't supposed to talk about this, or Apple was told one thing by AT&T and then changed their mind. I'm talking about Steve talking about people will get out of their contracts. When he was asked, he said, "Yes, I believe so," or I forget what his exact words were. Something along that lines, like it was like either "I believe so, yes," or "Yes, I believe so." One of those things. And immediately after that was pushed on the blogs, within an hour, AT&T is out there making an official announcement to the press that no, we will not let people out of their contracts. So
yeah, I don't think that I don't think Jobs took any. No, I don't think that there was any discussion on whether there was going to be a deal. That's beyond the 30 days. Like AT&T is going to honor the 30 days. And if someone's in the middle of a contract and upgraded, of course they can always downgrade. So the real issue is beyond 30 days up until the extended range for returns for the iPhone with AT&T on that. I don't think that Apple's going to take offense to it. If they're saying I believe so, he was posed a question by the press on that. To me, it's like they didn't know for certain.
It's one of those things. I think if he didn't know, if he didn't strongly know, and they hadn't talked with AT&T at all, he probably should have said something along the lines of, "You're going to have to talk to AT&T about that." You know, basically pass the buck to him. Because I mean, this doesn't make Jobs look bad. If it makes anyone look bad, it makes AT&T look bad. But it's
people will go after them if they don't. If somebody got a new contract and this, maybe they're in somewhere in August, I think that AT&T could have a problem on their hands with an accepted return product because it's an accepted issue with the product. I can't see how if an AT&T directly branded cell phone that had an issue that they would have to say, well, we can't sell this phone anymore. It's got an issue, but we have people in contract. That they would have to honor people getting out of that contract as one option and another option going to another phone. So I don't know. I think they could run into problems.
Well, yeah, but it's taken 3 years for the AT&T lock-in suit to go anywhere. And you look at the stances AT&T's taken as people think I have my tinfoil hat on when I say this, but if you look at the way AT&T is treating the whole mobile and smartphone stuff, my honest assessment of that company, at least in the States, is they don't want the business. They want it to go somewhere else.
What do you mean by that? That would mean they would hurt their bottom.
But I think that they've taken the assessment that they're going to milk the iPhone for as long as they have exclusivity, but they don't really have any interest in expanding that market on their network any more than they, the whole smartphone and mobile device stuff any more than they already have. And I think they just don't want anything to do with it. I'm hoping that changes at some point, but it's almost as if they're working as hard as they can to drive that business to other carriers. Maybe they've decided they don't make enough money off of it.
Well, no, then they would just simply charge a different price tier, which I think the whole data plan price changes were. I think they were thinking, well, let's since we're going to have more smartphones on our networks, our current pricing policies aren't going to work, and we need to change it up to get even more money out of it. And you and I discussed this before.
Yeah, we've pointed this out. What they did was basically double, if not triple, the price of data. And when people actually start using data in a year or two, here's what I see happening on the AT&T network. I see the story sometime in 2011 or 2012. This happened on Verizon a while back when they were charging by the kilobyte. Somebody got like a $20,000 bill. Now, it's like this is going to happen to AT&T. Grandma's going to buy an iPhone or an Android device or an iPad and actually go use it, and she's going to get a $1,000, $2,000 bill because of all the cloud-based stuff and everything else that's coming up. And AT&T is going to look like an ass. They're not going to be overcharging them. They're going to be charging them exactly what they are. But for just basic usage, somebody's going to get the bill from hell, and the news is going to pick it up, and it's...
Yeah. I don't think they're wanting to drive the business away. I think they're wanting to put the business as it comes in boxes, in their own boxes, to capitalize even more on making even more profit off of us. I can't say, oh, please let Verizon and Sprint. I mean, because more and more people are picking up smartphones, more and more people are going to data, whether you're on even simple phones now, you have data plans. Like a little LG that I have, you can still surf the internet on that. You can still use data feature navigation.
Yeah.
Other stuff.
Well, no, it's like it was. This is not unique to AT&T. I mean, T-Mobile does this too. They want you to buy their turn-by-turn service for $20 a month rather than get an Android device with Google Maps.
Right.